Our 2025 midseason re-rank of the Mariners farm system continues with prospects 20 through 11. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. This is Ty Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. And as always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. So it's time for prospects 20 through 11 in our mid-season re-rank of the Mariners farm system. Let's take a quick look at where we left off yesterday with prospects 30 through 21. Coming in at number 30, outfielder Carlos Jimenez. Number 29, right-handed pitcher Charlie Bylinson. Number 28, right-handed pitcher Christian Little. Number 27, outfielder Victor Labrada. Number 26, right-handed pitcher Chia Shi-shen. Number 25, right-handed pitcher Matt Tiberia. Number 24, utility man Brock Rodden. Number 23, catcher Grant J. Number 22, right-handed pitcher Jackson Steensma. And number 21, right-handed pitcher Walter Ford. So let's get into the top 20 here, Colby. And coming in at number 20, it's another one of those 2025 draft picks of the Mariners, another catcher selected by the Mariners in 2025. Luke Haymon out of Florida, 22 years old, comes in at number 20 on your personal list, number 21 on mine. Tell us about Luke Haymon.
Yeah, 14th round pick out of Florida by the Mariners this year. 6'3", about 200 pounds, good build, tremendous power. Who a lot of people thought was going to be what used to be called a day 2 pick. Now it's just rounds 3 through 10, I guess. Yeah. But he ended up going to the 14th. There were some swing and miss problems in his first couple years at Florida that dragged his profile down. But he did post much better whiff rates this year in his junior year. It was a strikeout rate that was below 20%, which was a big gain for him. But the power is the calling card here. He's going to swing and miss at the pro level. He's going to have some strikeouts. But what he kind of sets up nicely to be right now is power first backup catcher with solid defensive value. So just like a really solid backup catcher, which is valuable. Like may not be exciting, but again, how many teams have one good catcher? Like half of the teams have one catcher we would consider good. Most teams don't have one good catcher, and Haymon is probably a number 2 type of build. We've seen Seattle chase this. It's not uncommon for them to draft college catchers in this general area. You remember way back when Tatum Levens was the guy they drafted, Josh Caron, Carter Benz. So they do like to take these shots on the catcher position where they're looking for one tool offensively, and then they are looking for just solid defense that they can build on. And Haymon certainly has that. He has the plus power. There's some trends that are going well for him in terms of contact rates, and he should have no issues sticking behind the plate and being a solid average defender back there. Again, good size too, good athlete. So there's a lot to like here, but I still think the profile is probably not everyday catcher, but like the ceiling of being like a 1B or a 1A to somebody's, sharing time essentially, kind of like Tom Murphy, who we talked a little bit about yesterday, is certainly here for Haymon. So he's a nice prospect, nice find in the 14th round.
Coming in at number 19 is another 2025 draftee of the Mariners, left-handed pitcher Mason Peters out of Dallas Baptist. The Mariners 4th round selection, comes in at 21 years old. He was 21st on Colby's list, 19th on mine.
Well, he's a lefty with a big curveball.
Yeah, you love those.
I mean, yeah, not a lot to hate on there, but yeah, it's pretty good stuff relative to expectation. He's a small guy, 6 foot, 5'11", right around there, about 180 pounds. So there's really not much projectability left, but he's sitting in the mid 90s. He's touched 97, 98. with a fastball that's got good spin rates, 2,500 plus RPMs there, and a curveball that he spins at 3,000 RPM plus to go with it. So he's going to throw some strikes. Again, the question is, can he be a starter? I think the Mariners will give him that shot to be. Ultimately, I think he ends up being kind of a swing guy in terms of like, he might be able to start. He might be more of a multi-inning relief type. But again, because he's up to 97 with a killer breaking ball, it gives him that opportunity to get big outs, in high leverage spots, or to get through a lineup 2 or 3 times. So it's a really interesting draft pick by them. A lot of people thought it was a huge reach in the 4th round when they snagged him. But you look at the metrics again, high spin fastball, really one of the best curveballs in the class. There's swing and miss level here, and he throws strikes. So this is a really interesting selection. We'll have to see if they can maintain the velocity over these longer innings. But yeah, Mason Peters is a really interesting arm, and I feel like he's at least Tim Collins, if you guys remember who that is, for Kansas City's bullpen back in the early 2000s. I think he was on those World Series teams. But we'll see what they can do. But I would say 2 above average, 1 above average pitch and 1 plus pitch to go along with probably average command and control. That's interesting. Athletic dude. Again, there's just not a lot of projectability left, which is going to knock him in these types of ranks. But yeah, I'm again, I'm biased. Left-handed pitcher with a big curveball. Yeah.
Yeah. My question here really, and this is more from the can he start perspective, is can he add a third pitch? Getting out a third offering. I know he's tinkered with a sweeper, but maybe could he add a change up to the repertoire, something like that, just to allow him to flesh out his arsenal a little bit more. All right, coming in at number 18 is another 2025 Mariners draftee, right-handed pitcher Lucas Kelly, 22 years old, comes in at number 17 on Colby's list, number 18 on mine. He's a reliever. He's going to be a reliever. And typically we don't rank relievers that high, especially guys that have never thrown a single pitch of professional ball in their lives. So why, despite all of the, is Lucas Kelly this high on our list?
Well, imagine if Paul Sewald threw 99 miles an hour. Next player.
Yeah.
No, Lucas Kelly is, a freak. Now it's up to 99. He's mostly 95, 96. But again, it is a low kind of 3/4 release. It's not exactly sidearm, but it's not, I think low 3/4 is the best way to put it. He's got 2 fastballs, 4-seamer and a sinker. And a pretty good slider to go with it. It's sometimes a cutter. It'll get characterized as a cutter, but it's really a firm slider to go with, fastball velo straight up. Some people have said that the fastball grades out as a 70 grade pitch. So if the slider is even average and he can throw strikes, he's going to be a great bullpen arm and one who could be up very soon, possibly next year. It's a low slot. The fastball has plenty of ride and carry through the zone. It's the low flat angle, so it's really tough to barrel up on, and it's the velocity. So, I mean, right away, Kelly might have one of the best individual pitches in the Mariners organization with that fastball. And then, just a matter of how many strikes can he throw? He hasn't been a problem for him. And how much refinement can they give on the breaking ball? Again, there's no third pitch. You don't need it. He's not going to be a starter. So this is a guy who could fast track. He could be in the big leagues next year, and he could be getting some high leverage outs in Seattle relatively soon. And when you have a high leverage upside role, that's a little more valuable than utility infielder, right? For the most part. Kelly is a really interesting dude, and the stuff he's going to be fun to watch. I assume he'll probably start next year in Everett, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if he ended the year. Obviously Arkansas, maybe even Seattle. So keep an eye on Kelly. He's the guy who can move really quick.
All right. We are going to dive into prospects 20 through 11 a bit more in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by OpenPhone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? No, you called the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important. And that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. OpenPhone is offering Locked On Mariners listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's openphone.com/LOCKEDONMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. Again, that is openphone.com/lockedonmlb. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. For instant reactions following every Mariners game, be sure to tune in to the Mariners postcast with Anderson Hurst and Christopher Crawford, available on both the Locked On Mariners YouTube and podcast feeds. And again, yesterday's episode, today's episode, tomorrow's episode, all dedicated to prospects from us. So if you want to hear about the M's and the O's series going on right now, check in with Anders and Chris. They got you covered on that front on the Mariners postcast. All right, let's get back into prospects 20 through 11 here. Coming in at number 17, right-handed pitcher Teddy McGrath, 23 years old, comes in at number 18 on Colby's list, number 16 on mine, and was 20th the last time we did this. So nice little jump in the rankings for Teddy McGrath. And obviously this is kind of the area where the Mariners traded quite a few dudes from at the trade deadline. So that's part of the reason, but also I am just so happy for Teddy McGrath because he is finally healthy. He's not pitching a ton right now. They're really managing him at the moment, but he's actually on the field and throwing, which is a huge, huge step in the right direction for him. And he's actually had a little bit of success this season as well. He's missed some bats. We've seen some good things out of Teddy McGrath. So how are you feeling about Teddy right now?
Yeah, he just got back on the mound about a week ago after taking about a month off. So they are being cautious with him. And it's that's the reason why he's not in the top, 12. But it does also speak to how, high this guy's ceiling is. When the Mariners selected him in the 3rd round, he started that draft cycle as a pretty consensus 1st-round pick. And then unfortunately he got hurt. Now he's 23 years old. So, this is his second year since second draft year. Or second year post draft, I should say. And he's only appeared in 15 games. So yeah, there's some concern here with the injuries. There's some concern about whether he can ever get back to being a full-time starter or if he's got to be moved to the bullpen. But he's got 3 above average pitches. Like, it's fastball, slider, changeup. It's a true starter's mix. He's a good athlete. He's got really good size. And he throws strikes for the most part, although not quite where he was a couple of years ago. So there is still some work to do there, obviously, but he, for the most part, will throw strikes. Command and control's good. Command needs some work, but again, it is really good stuff. Some of the better stuff in the system. It is a good frame. It is a good build. It's 97 with the fastball with some heavy sink to it, an above average changeup, plus slider, repeats his delivery pretty well. So like, there's a shot here. Teddy McGrath could be a guy who we look up in, a couple of years and we're like, wow, the Mariners just created another mid-rotation starter out of nowhere. Although this time we'll know where it comes from, because with McGrath, it's not a question of stuff. It's not a question of command. It's not a question of pitchability. It is a question of health. And right now we just don't know. We don't know how healthy he is or how healthy he's ever going to be. And that is what's holding back his prospect ranks. He just hasn't played enough to really rise up these ranks the way he could. So he's got to watch next year. Hopefully he has a full workload next year and they feel comfortable with that. If he's a starter, I mean, he could go in the top 10. next year. If he's a reliever, this is probably as high as he goes, but there's really good stuff here, and there's a very good arm in Teddy McGraw. He just has to get healthy.
All right, coming in at number 16 is right-handed pitcher Michael Morales, 22 years old, comes in at number 16 on Colby's list, 17th on mine, and was 15th the last time we did this. And Michael Morales has been perpetually in this range for God knows how long at this point. It was such a good year for Morales in 2024. He took some legit steps forward, and it kind of feels like that progress he made last year has kind of just gone away this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just a 5.71 Ks per nine this year in Double-A, repeating the level. 3.33 Ks per or walks per nine, 4.40 ERA, 3.91 FIP, 4.77 xFIP. None of those numbers are particularly exciting. The stuff in general is not particularly exciting. I struggled with placing Morales on this list. I actually thought about having him drop considerably. But I still feel like, he's going to get to the major league level. I just don't like, is he just Emerson Hancock? Is he another Emerson Hancock? That's kind of what that's kind of what I'm concerned about here. And if he's another Emerson Hancock, then he's not like, he's a fringe major league starter at best. And it's like, how much value should that ultimately hold in this list?
Right. The one thing he's got going for him is he's been incredibly durable throughout his career. He's made 20 plus starts the last 3 years, and he's well on his way to do it again this year. He was a high school draft pick, but 6'2", 205. I don't know there's much there left to project on. Fastball, good command, but he's only 91, 92. So, and the changeup is his best pitch, and like we've talked about, like that's great, but as a starter, if your best pitch is your changeup, you need the fastball to complement it, and Morales just doesn't have it. He's got a couple of just kind of mediocre, slushy, breaking balls that don't really do much. He's tried to add a cutter that really hasn't taken off quite yet. Maybe it will. Maybe that'll be the difference maker for him. But Morales is just he's a pitchability guy who probably can give you 6 innings and give up 3-4 runs, and that's kind of what he does. And so there's value to having a guy in your org that can eat innings without killing you every time he goes out there. And I do think it's less likely that you're going to get the blow up starts that you get from Hancock and sometimes Evans out of Morales. So like the floor is a little bit higher, but the ceiling is not. Like he is Logan Evans. He is Emerson Hancock. And, I guess at least with Evans and Hancock, we've seen them be able to get more velocity there if they need it. And Morales just hasn't really shown that he has any more left in the tank. So this is a guy who's kind of stagnated a little bit. I still think he's a number 5 starter at the big league level, which is fine. But yeah, it felt like this was a year for him to really ascend and take that next step. And he just never did. And again, he's a good prospect. There's nothing wrong with being a number 5 starter. And those guys, have long careers and they usually get paid quite a bit of money. But Morales, again, his best pitch is the changeup, and it's a good one, but there's just not enough value off the fastball to allow him to throw the changeup enough in a starter's role to get huge outs with it. So it feels like he's either got to add some velo or he's got to refine one of his breaking balls or something that he doesn't currently have right now in his arsenal. He needs to add. Otherwise, he's just going to be this perpetual, number 5, probably back and forth between AAA and the big leagues a couple times. And then just somebody needs 150 innings, they'll go to him and he'll eat those innings for him. And then he'll hit free agency and sign another 1-year deal for a team that needs 170 innings or whatever. And sounds like that's kind of what he's destined for, but we'll see. He is also only 22. Yeah. Like there still is a little bit of time here, but repeating the level, you're kind of hoping he'd take another step, and he didn't. By the way, he turns 23 today.
Oh, okay. Like today, as in the day that we're posting this episode, or the day we're
today
recording?
As in the day we're posting.
Nice. Well, happy birthday, Michael Morales.
Yes. Go to Driveline, get some spin rates up on that fastball.
Yeah. All right, coming in at number 15. This is probably the first guy on this list that's really going to turn some heads with where we placed him, but we'll get into it. Tai Pete, outfielder, falls from number 9 the last time we did this, and we were both in agreement on where we wanted to place him here at number 15. Just 20 years old, but it's been a rough year for Tai. No way around it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he's incredibly raw. There was a very high likelihood that this was going to happen. It doesn't mean that he's cooked as a prospect or that we're giving up on him or anything like that. But we just didn't feel like we could place him any higher in good faith with the year that he's had.
Yeah, the raw tools are all there, but he can't hit. Like his hit tool is 40 grade, on the 2080 scale. The strikeouts are super high, but you also see things like, well, he's got 19 doubles and 3 triples and 17 home runs and 21 stolen bases. Like he's going to go 20-20 this year. But he's also probably going to strike out 170 times, give or take. He's not drawing a ton of walks either. Obviously, his 221, 282, 415 slash line in Everett is, proof enough that he is not having a good year. But he just turned 20 yesterday, or yesterday as we're recording this. So kind of a weird little thing there with dates. But he's just turned 20. So there's still plenty of time. He's going to repeat Everett next year. Hopefully he makes some changes to the swing here, but the power is legit. It is plus raw power. It is above average in-game power. He's a plus runner with a plus arm, and he's pretty darn good center fielder already, and he's barely played that position. So there's no reason to give up on Tai Pete, but there's also no reason to have him near the top 10. I think anybody who has him, I would say inside the top 12, I think you're kind of lying to yourself, to be honest. I think there's a clear cutoff point here, and I think Pete is in that tier of like uber talented. Definitely don't want to give up on the guy, but we just can't pretend that this year didn't happen because we really like the player and we really like the dude. And I do, but I'm not going to ignore this year because it's been rough for him.
Yeah, so great to see that he's handled the transition to the outfield well. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to see that he's started to come around a little bit as of late with the bat, but still it's been a bad year for Tai overall. And so that's why he ultimately fell so far on this list.
Yeah.
All right, we got 4 more names to go over here in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is once again brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a Mariners game, either by yourself or with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and suddenly you realize I want to be in the stands. Well, that's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. We are ranking prospects 20 through 11 in the Mariners farm system. Coming in at number 14, it's another 2025 draftee of the Seattle Mariners, Griffin Hugus, right-handed pitcher, 21 years old, comes in at number 14 on both of our lists. By the way, I believe you and I were in agreement on the placement of the next 8 guys on this list. So even going into tomorrow. So you and I were pretty locked in with one another on a lot of these dudes, including Hugus, who, pretty interesting dude. They get him in the 3rd round. Maybe this is another college success story for the Mariners.
Yeah, certainly could be. He's kind of an interesting pick in the 3rd round. There's stuff here doesn't really blow you away. The results in college weren't, astronomically great or anything like that, but he is a very Mariners model type of pitcher. The fastball has good spin and he lives with it up in the zone despite not having quite the velocity you'd like him to have. but it's a pretty good breaking ball. They really like the metrics on Hugus, and they like the build. They like the makeup, and they like his competitiveness. So you kind of look at this and you say, look, any college pitcher now, unfortunately, is going to be, is this their Bryce Miller? Is this their Brian Wu? And any pitcher started after game, or any pitcher drafted after round 10 is this Logan Evans? Is this Brandon Garcia? Like, I don't know, maybe not. It's not really fair to expect Hugus to be, Bryce Miller. But
Right.
there are some similarities here, and we'll have to see. And keep in mind, Miller's stuff was not what it was with the Mariners. It was not that way in college. They really went to work on Miller, and they got the velo up. They added the splitter. And I think Hugus is in that mold where it's like, look, we think we can actually increase the stuff. We like the control. We like the command. We like the build. We like a lot here, but we think we can actually get more out of him than anybody else in this draft. And we're going to take him. It's 2, above average breaking balls, which is not something a lot of guys have coming out of college. It's a workable changeup, and it's a fastball that there's more there than he's currently getting out of it. We talked to Joe right after the draft, and Joe said that if the season had ended back in May, Hugus might have been a second-round pick. Like he really performed, and then he faded down the stretch. There was some fatigue that set in. But yeah, this is a guy who, again, the Mariners really like him. They like the modeling on his fastball. He's got 2+ breaking balls. He's a good athlete. There's a lot to like here, and this does feel, because the college numbers aren't overwhelming, it's real easy to make a Brian Wu comparison here, but I don't want to put that much pressure on the guy. Yeah, this is a really interesting pick, and I'm really excited to watch him pitch next year because I think this is a Mariners type of pitcher, which is worth at least another 2-3, spots in any prospect ranks. Plus, nice mustache.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, he's got a legit pitch mix. That fastball eats at the top of the zone. Like, he's able to consistently get swing and miss there on the top rail. So it's a really fun profile. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Mariners do now that they have their hands on him. All right, coming in at number 13 is outfielder Corbin Dickerson, another one of these 2025 draftees. We've talked a lot about these guys on this show. Again, like I said, Colby and I are locked in on a lot of these guys. We both had him at number 13 on our respective lists. And you've heard me throw out kind of the Jose Siri comp on Dickerson because it's huge raw power, plus defender, plus runner. Really exciting dude. He's only produced once at the college level. He struggled in Louisville, transferred to Indiana, and then hit well this year. And so we'll see if he can, continue that and ride that wave of momentum into his pro career. But at the very least, there feels like some real probability here with Dickerson. It's weird saying that about a guy that just got drafted, in the mid rounds, but it does feel like he's going to be a major leaguer just off the athleticism and the defense alone. And if he actually gets the bat going, cuts down on the swing and miss, actually gets to that power more so in game action, then you could have a real legitimate prospect here. And that's why he's so high on this list, despite where he was drafted.
Yeah. I mean, we had their 3rd and 4th round picks ranked lower than Dickerson. So yeah, it does speak to his raw tools. He actually doesn't have any problem hitting velocity. So that's not the issue. It's recognizing spin. Yeah. And in Major League Baseball, you have to recognize spin. You don't have to absolutely destroy breaking balls, but you can't just be a guy who can't touch them, right? Like, you have to be able to get to the fastballs, and until you can do something against the breaking balls, they're not going to throw you any fastballs. So this is a guy who will crush the heater. He is plus defender, plus power, plus speed. So it really does all come down to that hit tool. And right now, I think you probably have to give the hit tool 40, 45 at most, just because of the inability to pick up spin right now. But that's something that you hope you can teach, because the tools here are outstanding. He is a 2020 maybe Gold Glove caliber center fielder, and those guys aren't cheap. They don't come around that often. And for you to snag that guy in the 5th round for about slot, by the way, they did not overpay him. So it is a really interesting toolkit here. And he does have the potential, even in this loaded Mariner system, to be at some point next year top 6 or 7. Like that is the ceiling here, obviously depending on graduations and whatnot. Speaking of graduations, no Logan Evans, no Cole Young, just in case you guys were wondering. I assume by now you know that, but whatever. Yeah, so this is a really interesting pick. He is kind of the college version of Tai Pete, where the tools are very loud, but the hit tool is so questionable that it drags down the entire profile. At worst, I think this guy's a 4th outfielder who, going to hit some home runs before he plays some really good defense. But I think there's a shot here. Maybe he's Carlos Gomez. You remember Carlos Gomez?
Yeah.
Like that might be the ceiling here. But again, it starts with the hit tool. If you can't hit, a lot of the rest of your profile doesn't matter that much. If you can't hit, you're a bench player, regardless of what the rest of your profile is. And so we'll have to see how he does. This is one of those guys I'm going to be really excited to track next year. A little surprised he hasn't been assigned to Modesto or anything like that. He's not playing yet, but maybe that's coming up shortly, or maybe they just give him the year. But this guy learning how to read spin, learning how to, hit the breaking ball the other way so he can hunt fastballs. If he can do that, he might be one of the 4 or 5 most talented dudes, raw talent in the entire organization. And wait till you guys see the 1 through 10. That's saying something.
All right, coming in at number 12 is the Mariners' big signing of the last international signing period. Yor Bautista, 17-year-old outfielder down in the Dominican Summer League, comes in at number 12 on both of our lists. He was number 11 the last time we did this, so only falls 1 spot. Bautista is so hard for Colby and I to especially assess, because we have no idea what's going on in the DL cell, right? Like we'll see some tweets and that's really it. We might see a couple of clips. That's really it. So like we talked about the first time we had a chance to talk about him, there's only so much we can work off of here when talking about Yor Bautista. And so like this year he has, first year pro ball at 17 years old down in the DSL. He's had some nice moments. He's hit for a bit of power, but overall he hasn't wowed anyone. It's a 93 WRC plus. It's a 231, 327, 416 slash line. How much can you actually put into, DSL numbers, whatever, but he's striking out 29.5% of the time. Just to play it safe, I pretty much just kept him in the same spot as we had him last time.
Yeah, I mean, the tools are still all there. It's plus raw power, plus run, plus arm, really good defender, can currently stay in center field. He's only 17. He'll turn 18 in about a month. And he's 6'1", about $180. So there is still room for him to grow and add strength and all that stuff. But again, like we just kind of talked about with Dickerson, if you can't hit, the rest of your profile really doesn't matter that much. And right now, I think it would be charitable to say Bautista is a 45 grade hitter. Now it's all about projecting going forward. So just because he's a 45 at 17 doesn't mean he's not going to be a 55 at 18 or 19. So yeah, just really tough to get a good feel on these guys. The reports that come in are limited. The video that comes out is limited. So we're kind of waiting for him to get stateside before we can have a really good sense. But just based on the raw tools alone, yeah, I think he belongs here. It is plus power, plus speed, double plus arm, good center fielder who might be elite in a corner. Like it's just, is this guy Taylor Trammell or is he the real deal? I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see once he gets stateside, but not the most encouraging year for him, but also way too early to write this guy off at all. This is not DeWalt Joseph right now. We're a couple years away from that being the case.
All right, last name on this list. This is probably another guy that is going to make a few of you go, what? But we'll get into it. Coming in at number 11, Felon Celest, 19-year-old infielder down in low A Modesto, comes in at number 11 on both of our lists. He was number 4 the last time we did this list. So a pretty steep drop. That might be the biggest drop outside of the guys that completely fell off the list, like the Josh Cairns of the world. Yeah, spoiler alert, Josh Cairns not in the top 10. I know.
Yeah.
Felon, it's just been kind of an underwhelming year for Felon.
Yeah. Recently, he's started to put up the exit velos we were expecting. Recently, he's starting to get the ball in the air more. He was hitting a ton of ground balls early on. I think a big part of this fall, quote unquote, is that A, dudes just passed him. And B, he has had a little bit of a disappointing season, I think mostly because of the injuries. But those are a real thing. You have to be available. You cannot get better while you're on the IL. And he has had some real hamstring issues over the last couple of years. And, it's gotten him a couple times this year, and the numbers are underwhelming. So, you kind of get built up as this 5-tool guy. And it's like, well, right now the power, we can't count that as a tool. It's not an average tool right now. It doesn't mean it can't be, but it's not right now. The hit tool, still pretty good. I still think it's about an average hit tool, maybe a little bit above. I mean, he's doing fine in Modesto for a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
So I don't want this to come off like Felon is like not a real prospect anymore, that he's not good. He is good. It's just the Mariners farm system is really, really good. There's probably, I don't know, half the organizations in baseball where Felon would be the number one. It's just not true with the Mariners. There are a lot of guys who are closer to the big leagues, a lot of guys who took steps forward this year. And Felon, it just kind of felt like he plateaued a little bit. I still think he's going to be a nice shortstop. I think he's going to hit for some good average. I just wonder if I look at this guy, remember the original comp was like, oh, might be Francisco Lindor. And I just look at it and wonder if like maybe he's Carlos Guillen instead, or maybe he's Eric Ibar. Like good player, certainly, but not a star. And that's where I'm at right now with Felon. Could it change in a year? Absolutely. It could. And like I said, this year is still pretty solid considering all the circumstances, but you gave this guy almost $5 million to sign here. And he was being, built up as Francisco Lindor, the next Francisco Lindor. And he might fast track his way to the big leagues. The hit tool is so advanced, and he's just been fine. He's been disappointing, though, is the key here, and that's
like relative to expectations. Yeah, because again, he's 19 years old and he's slashing 275, 341, 380 in his first year of affiliate ball.
Yeah, against 21, 22-year-old college kids.
Like that's pretty good, But relative to expectations, he didn't really build upon what he did in the complex league last year, where he dominated. He was awesome in the complex league. Obviously, didn't play a ton, and injuries obviously played a factor in that.
Right,
but. This year it's just he didn't really take that step forward that you were hoping he would take. Right. And like you said, the Mariners farm system got better in a lot of different ways. Right, they added more talent to it. Guys just got better, had better seasons than maybe we expected. It's just a really good farm system, and Felon's more so a victim of that than really anything here. But he didn't have he hasn't had a great year. He's had a good year, but he hasn't had a great year.
Yeah, I'd also say this, like, just to kind of put a bow on this. I think starting with this slot, number 11, until about number 7, I think there's kind of a clear 1 through 6, and there's a clear hierarchy within the 1 through 6 in my mind. But from 7 to 11, these players that were put them in whatever order you want. I don't care. If you think Felon Celest's the 7th best prospect in the Mariners system, I'm not going to argue with you.
It's very funny you say that, because you and I are completely locked in until about number 7, I think.
Yeah. So, well, that's because you're dead wrong on one player, and we'll get to that technically tomorrow.
Yes.
But yeah, to me, like, if you want him to be number whatever, you want him to be, I could go as high as 7, I think. Fine, he's number 7. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to debate with you. 12 through 7, 13 through 7. Kind of sort of put them in whatever order you want, but Felon is in that next tier. It's just, to me, because of the injuries, because of the somewhat disappointing year, and because he just hasn't really taken a step forward yet. He just was on the bottom of this next tier of players. And again, 11th in the Mariners system is nothing to scoff at. That's how good the Mariners system is.
All right, that is going to do it for us. So quick look at where we are now. 20 through 11. Number 20, Luke Haymon. Number 19, Mason Peters. Number 18, Lucas Kelly. Number 17, Teddy McGraw. Number 16, Michael Morales. Number 15, Tai Pete. Number 14, Griffin Hugus. Number 13, Corbin Dickerson. Number 12, Yor Bautista. And number 11, Felon Celest. So the top 10 coming your way tomorrow. But for now, thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Tai Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Tai Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.